your parents always tell you that you're never going to get a good job if you don't go to college, but Institute is trying to change that. I'm here with the founder, and she's going to explain to you that you have more options than just college and grad school.
Yeah, it's funny actually. If you are going to college, the data is showing that you aren't getting the job, and you're probably actually burdened with a lot of debt, and now you're challenging yourself with wondering, why did I pay all this for school when I have no skills, no value, and no experience to make myself employable? So with Institute, we're changing that paradigm. We think there's a huge opportunity to learn by doing. So we're finding 15 young adults to ages 18 to 24 to apprentice under the top entrepreneurs in New York Tech, spending 2 years full-time, literally learning under the wings of CEOs. So they start off as a general administrative assistant, and they move into a much more deeper dive, specialized role.
Now, how have these students been received at companies when they go out to and apply for jobs and they don't have a degree on the resume? You know, a lot of time it's a minimum requirement. Yep. How are they getting around that? So
we just launched our program. The first fellows start in August. However, we're working with corporations to kind of sign a pledge to say they actually are realizing this now. The people they're hiring, they're realizing are not worth the money they're spending. So we're getting a pledge by corporations to say, I'm no longer going to let the name of a school define the potential value in an applicant, and I'm willing to take applicants from Institute to apply for our roles because we see a lot of potential value in the individual.
So are these students, do you think that if they move outside of these companies that you have pledged with, do you think that their work experience will overshadow the fact that they're missing, you know, a bachelor's degree or whatnot?
Absolutely. So here's the problem right now. You have tons of students with bachelor's degrees that aren't getting hired because you ask the hiring manager, they have no skills, no value, and no experience, no network. We're handling all of that. Every one of our graduates will have a huge network they're pulling from, a portfolio of work experience, and more so, references and credibility in a very established scene by people who want to hire them, but yet these fellows are so marketable, they're getting the pick of the option.
So right now you're starting with the tech industry. Is there hopes to expand in the near future?
Definitely. Both my co-founder and I come from the tech scene. It's what we know, it's what we operate well in, but we definitely have expansion plans. Our goal is to expand both beyond New York, globally, as well as beyond tech. So think about any industry, which is many of them, which have business skills as, you know, the commodity to which they operate. So there's a lot of opportunity for us to grow this.
So we were talking a little bit about how students are graduating with this overwhelming amount of debt. How much does Institute cost in comparison?
Right, so actually we're starting off as a nonprofit corporation or fundraising to cover all the costs. So fellows for the 2 years will get housing, transportation, food, living stipends, and in parallel too, they're not getting burdened with debt. So that way when they look at job options, when they try and think about their future career path and what maximizes their potential, they're not burdened by a debt that prevents them from actually driving the most, you know, passionate choice they could pursue.
Now let's say you're in your sophomore year of college, yep, and you're already in school, but you hear about this and you're really interested in doing an apprenticeship program. Would you allow those students to come in, or do you want to leave that open for people who have fully committed to doing this?
Yeah, so technically we are full-time commitment, so you cannot currently be a student and at Institute. However, there's a couple safety nets for you. One, everyone who gets accepted, we will ensure, we'll work with your administration to get a 2-year deferral. So should you decide this isn't for you, you always have that option to go back. Funny enough though, a heavy percentage of our applicants are students in college who are already dropping out regardless because they've demystified it. They see that the value, what they're paying for, isn't worth what they're getting. So we're actually the safest, like most valuable option for them because they still are not employable by a lot of companies because they still don't know a lot.
So to be on the safe side, I would assume that you guys are going to stick to certain sectors because you obviously can't, you know, be a brain surgeon without having gone to school, right?
Right, and let's be clear, like, we're not saying college is wrong. We're saying it's not for everyone and not necessarily at this time. There's also a lot of areas that we'll never be good at. Brain surgeons. I don't want a doctor unless he's done a lot of medical school experience. Even technical, right? A lot of the deep sciences. You know, we're testing a little bit on the dev side, but there's a lot of arguments to be made for the best way to be a developer is to spend time coding. You don't need to apprentice. You need to just get your hands dirty and just dive in and teach yourself. So the argument is, it's funny, there are so many different ways to learn, and the interesting thing is, why has college only been the one solution that we've pushed for so long? All we're saying is there's many more valuable paths for many different types of people.
Cool, and the website is?
It's instituteu.com.